Kai Havertz, the elephant in the title-chasing room. The cousin you can't quite work out at the family get-together. Frankly, the easy target. A little while ago, I made this video about Kai Havertz, and in it, I talked about his best qualities. His ability to drift into lovely pockets of space, knowing his next pass, his ghosting into the box, his off-the-ball work, and so much more. But right now, even if you're a massive Kai Havertz fan, you can't really say his best qualities have been on show for Arsenal in anything more than flashes. None of those qualities have gone away. They don't disappear overnight or when a player puts on a different shirt. We're just not seeing them on a consistent enough basis as of right now. And in a way, that's fine, as long as we have a clear pathway to fixing it. This is how to fix Kai Havertz. The first and most fundamental issue is confidence. It's the building block for everything else I'm going to be talking about. If you watch enough of my content, you'll know I hate over-indexing the mental side of the game. It's a massive part of it, of course, but if your only analysis of why a team are good or bad is a Roy Keane-esque, well, you got no leaders tirade, I think you massively miss 90% of why a team play the way they play. Environments are king. Tactical, technical, mental, physical, they're all part of it. And the most important of those categories is an eternal question in football, but one does not exist without the other. With Havertz though, I hate going back to it, it does feel like an individual mental block in this case. Watching moments like this against PSV, with Havertz clean through on goal but electing to cut back, I can't help but feel that his confidence looks to be the biggest challenge right now. He's not attacking space, he's not demanding the ball, he's not decisive enough in his actions, and those are technical demands. He has the technical ability, so it must be something else. I was recently on the excellent Ripple Effect with James Lawrence Alcott, definitely worth checking out on Spotify by the way, links in the description, and I was on with a player development coach called Harry Brooks, who works with a number of top-level footballers you've heard of one-on-one. In that episode, he said something really interesting in relation to Havertz. It's a bit of a long clip, but Harry literally works with top-level footballers every day, so he's much better to ask about this kind of stuff than I am.
One of the biggest issues footballers can face is overthinking. Overthinking is a bad thing for footballers because it is such an instinctive sport, but it is very normal to overthink.
And thinking of failure, I'd imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very, and that's why you're so fearful of the failure. You're overthinking the process rather than just playing, just trusting. He at the moment isn't playing with instinct. He's overthinking things, and that is a big job I have when I work with players that go through losses of form. It's 9 times out of 10, a lot of it leads to them overthinking. Sometimes you can try too hard and you're no longer natural.
What does that come from though? Because is that a coach giving them too much information?
It could be every situation is different. It can be who they are as a person. Someone like James Maddison, he is not an overthinker at all. He is so trusting of his own ability and his instinct to go, I'll fix it, I know what I'm doing. Other players, they want the structure around them. They want that, I want to be told to do this there and then. I want that. Some players that you can't break their confidence. Other players, you can. There's no rule set to it. It's about understanding who the person is, who the player is, and what makes them tick.
That James Maddison comparison really struck a chord with me. Not just because he's a Spurs player playing in the left 8 who seemed very gettable this summer, and you do wonder what might have been considering his start to the season, but more the word Harry used, instinct, because I think he's bang on. Havertz right now doesn't appear to be playing with very much instinct at all. He feels sluggish and indecisive. That overthinking might be down to learning a new system, but I'm just keen to see Havertz complete his actions a lot sharper and quicker, with the instinct that Maddison seems to show. Sharp feet, sharp brain. A comparison I love for Havertz in terms of style of play that I've seen recently is Dimitar Berbatov. Tall guy, not exactly a traditional 9, languid style, knock it round the corner, 1-2s, finishing often by ghosting in unannounced. When Berbatov was on it, he was purring, playing like he'd seen the game before, a pure vibes type player. But people forget Berbatov went through cold periods where he seemed disinterested. I don't think Havertz is disinterested. I just think for some players, keeping them hot mentally is harder than others for various different reasons. The question is whether it's worth it. I happen to think it is based on Havertz's talent, but from what you've seen, you might not think it is, and that's fair. I think there's a perception issue here too. In my opinion, he's not helped by coming in as a kind of false 9 in many people's heads, who then comes back and plays in the left 8. If we'd signed a 6, let's say in the summer, who we asked to play further up, would we be judging them on goals and assists? Probably not. Certainly not as much. Add to that, he came from Chelsea, and he's on negative credit already. I spoke to Scott Willis of Canon Stats for the bonus content last week, and we discussed Havertz and loads of other things from a data standpoint, available on Patreon on a free trial and on YouTube memberships. But one of the most fascinating things I learned was that Arsenal's approach play is a lot slower this season in terms of how we go forward, almost going to Man City's levels. We're also having more passes per possession, going from 7.5 passes on average to 9, a huge swing relatively. And I have to say, though the dual numbers look good and he's got comparative numbers to Xhaka, I think a lot of that is Havertz recycling, not wanting to go forward as a midfielder. He's looked at his best at number 9 for me, and that's when the solutions come in. Broadly, I think we need to play him there more often until he gets his confidence back. But why does he look at his best there? Well, I have a theory I'd love your opinion on. When you're at centre forward on the last line, I think your decision making is simplified. Imagine you receive the ball with your back to goal here. What are your options? You can lay it off to someone or try and spin and shoot, but you can't pass back to your centre back, you can't play in your winger, you can't try a slip ball, you can't progress because you're too far up the pitch. It's pretty black and white. But as a midfielder in this scenario, wow, it's endless. You can shoot, try a slip ball to the winger, go back, try a switch, try a carry, try a pass, try and take on your man, anything. At number 9, his decision making is much simpler because there's less options further up the pitch in most attacking scenarios. It's simpler, but not easier. Key difference. But when you're low on confidence, that's what you need. Simple instructions. To use an analogy, if you had a really talented person under you at work who'd lost all their confidence for some reason, let's say they returned after a year out, do you go, okay, here's a project, you need to figure it out, go? No, you'd give them simple instructions, then watch as their confidence grows project by project before they're being more proactive and finding solutions themselves. The ability was always there, it's just giving them the framework to best succeed. It's not about taking him right back to basics, although there's a bit of that. It's more about limiting his options so he can grow confidence from there. Havertz, however, does need to take some accountability for all this. If one of Mikel's key messages is to control the controllables, then I don't think he's doing that to the greatest extent he could. You can bust a lung trying to win games, even if you're low on confidence. And though I know Havertz has a different style, I don't think he's doing that in every action that's suitable for that kind of effort. This is the crux of it. Despite getting his goal, despite showing green shoots, despite the defensive duels, in my view, Arteta needs to put the training wheels back on. Take him out, play him at number 9 when you can, get him back into the team, then start with the left 8 project a bit further down the line. I see the vision as a left 8. I really do. But right now, this is a guy who needs some help. The PR washing machine is spinning faster than ever in the modern day, especially online. And expectations of Arsenal aren't matching what Havertz needs in his career right now. He needs a reset. We want the title. Does that make it the wrong signing at the wrong time? Time will tell. I want to finish on this though. How many times have we been in this situation under Arteta? A player not quite at the level. A player not quite what we've expected. As Arteta said, Ben White could not play as a fullback. He could not. Gabriel went through doubts. Ødegaard was doubted. Saka was a left back in debates with Brandon Williams, for God's sake. Granit Xhaka, the man he's replaced, took 6 seasons to find his best form, and it was thanks to Arteta. These things take time. Please, please don't write him off after 8 games, even if he's not at the level we need him to be. I'm only looking out for your WhatsApp group chat when Havertz inevitably scores the winner in the Champions League final in May. Get your Kai Havertz stocks in now. If you like The Different Knock and want to see more, you can access our bonus content on Patreon and YouTube memberships for just £3 a month.